learning process.
I've traveled to, run the camera stuff.
Oh, they're running now? Okay, I don't want to get in.
We want to just like set up that little, off-road switch with the camera.
Would you like to
alternate.
see Maria to
Each time anyone stops, one person can use the camera.
Maria's a coffee
That's
flavor. The little ice like that.
It's running.
You get your money in a minute.
Can you turn it on?
Running again.
Are we on?
Yeah, you're right. Alan seems to be fascinated.
By Dennis,
Yeah.
What is right?
And then you have to remember, the microphone is over here. And if you want to lock the recording right there, and people here can't see it.
Cameraman, put him, camera in.
Yeah.
Harvard, forgive me. What's that? It's Dennis.
That's real life experience. It's just nice to get something to
Right, Dennis. Right, Dennis.
Kids are natural, that's what's good about it.
Are you tired?
Should we maybe give... How about if we bring in the cake now and between you and I would blow?
Baby, no.
Happy birthday, it's not working. I'm trying to do both, sorry.
Talking to
Baby talk, I heard.
my twin sister.
I think we can say happy birthday now. Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rose. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. My little pan's out of mine here. Smile.
Now, we must blow out the candle. Make a wish. Yay! Look at clapping. Wonderful. Melanie, can you watch Signal get a knife? They can make it a ceremonial cut.
Special request.
Yes.
That was great.
I'll cut it off.
Can we cut it off rather well? Oh, you said it.
Yeah, I served it really tonight.
This.
Oh, watch. Okay. Oh, watch.
I will eat it.
Is that
Morning.
good?
But the one that cut it up is.
Okay, well, cut a piece for me.
No, I'll eat it tonight.
Okay.
I need okay.
Okay.
Dennis.
You filming now, Paul? It would be terrible imposition for me to set this. You know how to do it. Please explain it to me a million times.
How did I stop?
That's for the distance on the flash.
I have to explain something to you.
Where do you
But I
take it?
can't.
This one is it. All the pictures will be about 5 feet apart.
Oh, you just want to set in general.
We're all good.
Okay, you just adjust your distance to 5
I
feet.
am no longer the 1-year-old.
So there's a certain thing here.
I am the possession.
I think it might
I
be
celebrate
okay
2 birthdays. She celebrates 1. I celebrate my 51st.
Closest you can stand is 7.
My old life.
Okay. And this is set first.
This up to 760. And
Can I
X.
celebrate?
This unit goes up. This is the right hand side. This only goes up to F16. You can only stand.
It's kind of Swedish.
The red is, yeah, it looks like it's 400.
He said that was
I don't want to go on the day.
I know.
80.
You didn't expect it to.
To celebrate the 51st. Or 1,000 events. Even though.
11 is 5 feet away.
No.
You like it now?
Well, salute to the second, who knows? Who knows? It was the same too.
You understand.
Okay, let's focus on 5 feet.
Okay,
Now, you
so
can
das
focus
ist für
if you
dich.
move
Das
7
ist für
feet.
dich. Ja, wir haben ja das verlängert. Well, it's nice.
This inside
Verlängert
line
willpower. That
at 8.
helps.
See that dotted line?
I mean, it doesn't do all.
Okay, but if you move to 7 feet, instead of the 65 feet letting, I can do a little latitude.
He said that's the only thing that's keeping you alive.
Yeah, it
Set
is.
for 5 feet. Focus on 5 feet. Now, what you can do is you can move
So in that respect, don't give up.
Well, I can do it forever.
but it just changes it all.
It's a fight. I don't really expect to win. But I don't give up anything.
Just close.
Good. That's good. That's good. Good. Because the family still wants to have you around, and we don't keep so. To see your little granddaughter grow.
Oh, that didn't.
Maybe one of these days.
It's not good.
The Lord. So,
No, it's not.
Try something. Let's keep it out of focus and then stop it. And give us a nice lead and focus on infinity.
It doesn't do that gross without focus.
Does it?
Thanks a lot.
In a million cases.
Loving you, happy birthday.
Probably. Doesn't know that.
I'll try to get another kiss or
Just somebody that-
You know, it's just dropped every time I wheel, right?
But today,
you know what? No, this is the good. That lady, a Spanish one. Dr. Ramos. In fact, she's from England and Finance family, Kurt's family. She has a brother who's blind. Good girl. Well, 2 years ago, I guess. It was considered a hopeless case.
it's a wonderful card.
This is not, because I'm the trashy one. This wasn't from me, now I have to explain it. Sally saw this, a whole bunch of cards. I was looking all over the place. Yeah, come on, I had some of my own, but I thought this was better. I told her I wanted a Sesame Street party, and she said all kinds of rabbits and tablecloths and everything. The next day, she
What was
had
this?
a freezing cold one, snow and everything, and sent that by mail.
Later, that's before I became super lucky.
Right. Just before you became Supergirl. Otherwise, and this is also because it's before you became Supergirl. Well, this is a children's party, as you know.
Yeah.
This is Baby Hannes.
I know, 1 year old.
Good.
There will be an adult party later.
And don't silly about it. As I say, I understand completely. Some people are really special, no?
I know that you understand everything.
Thank you.
It's raining and everything. No, pull the string and talk to you. I don't hear I think it's a big grouchy like me.
And we're standing down. Are you
What'd you do with my soda?
Right, lucky day. Oh gee, there's 2 other ones I heard and I don't hear them now. I love trash. I'm over here.
There were years now.
There's no such thing as situation.
That's what you guys are. Oh, 6 o'clock, till.
Dorothy is acting as both my wife. We've been married
Nurse?
for your information for almost 31 years. In May, it'll be 30 of this year. It'll be 31. She's acting as my wife, as my mother, as my green apple, and these days as my mother and my nurse. Because there are moments when, unfortunately, I'm nearly helpless. And when I'm nearly helpless, she helps me. If you think this is one of the bad days, these days, this is one of the good days. Very good. I don't make everything but a good day. because even just the fact that I get excited because I'm happy. I get excited from happiness makes me tired. And if somebody makes me mad and excited, it also makes me tired.
I think it's the other one. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Even
Hello?
happy excitement
Yes.
makes me tired.
Yes.
The day before yesterday.
No, come on over. Please come. You are welcome.
If it's good,
And we're expecting
hey,
you.
if it's good, Dorothy,
Yeah, it's Kurt. Oh.
could he wait
Oh.
15 minutes
Oh,
and then come?
can you wait 15 minutes? No, I said. Yeah. Why don't you lift it up once you're hanging here?
Stephen, even if you're fighting, before your friend, make this fight out. Make sure you're both.
What is the,
They're good news. You want first.
oh, this is the bad news.
Bad news is. Now you want to.
What's the good news?
The good news. Gave me a magnum of. Now, I've been drinking very little. It's had a lot of controversy. Successfully, you will drink some of it.
That's what is leverage.
What do you say?
Yes.
If you can't settle it satisfactorily, then I'm going to say again what I said to you, which I'm sorry I said at the moment, because last time it's okay. Can I drink it together? Or you might not come back.
I think we'll drink it together.
Wish to drink it together, and the only thing I resent is you're gonna drink 90%.
Turn it off.
I only got 15 minutes. I gotta hurry up. Something. I was very impressed with you from the first day you came. I think you had hard times. I remember one time I made you mad too. I think it was just once. But these things happen in the best family. Besides which, I admit to being a personality who constantly tries to dominate. That's my teacher.
It's the way of life.
Something. Some of the years you've been there, you didn't do quite as well as you would have liked. As I would have liked you to. But this year, I think you did very well. I'm happy. I hope you're happy.
Yeah.
You have to have
Something.
something.
Sí, señor.
Remember, still, fading out. I want you to just, I know that you can play all that something.
I always like to listen to
Not that. That one. Something will make a difference.
Yeah, but I like always to have it. Yeah.
That's for you.
It's always a little short after dinners.
Something. I wish that next year it's going to be even better.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Even
The only thing that I want to say is that thank you for giving me the opportunity 5 years ago. And to know you and to be with you and working with you.
Thank you. It's already you took it, and you still have it. It Now it's beginning to pay off. If it doesn't pay off, it probably will be. Well, sometimes things go wrong due to circumstances we can't control. But you know what my philosophy is? Let those things go. Concentrate on what you can control. And things will go good. Something. Lots and lots of success. You know, I'm glad that I don't have to work anymore. I'm sorry about the reason.
Me siento raro,
I'm mad that I can't participate in the success that Puerto Rico will have next year. Because the groundworks for that success were laid by me. They were laid by a man called Mr. Brodigan. Long before I came in this company. This man, later on, I don't know how, I used to work for him. He came back and he worked for me, which is very difficult for him. It wasn't easy for me. But I can tell you one thing, I loved you. But even if I get well, I'm not coming back to work. You can tell him that. And Dorothy, you can give him Jim's bottle
Okay,
for delivery, okay?
okay.
No, wait.
Wait.
But give it to Dolores, yes, because maybe when Jimmy's back, I will do something.
Okay.
Dolores, you authorized it. That this is the only bottle of bourbon there ever was in this house. I personally despise this stuff, but I asked him the other day whether he drinks it, and he said yes. Now, I know he drinks Danku, and I have Danku, but I wasn't gonna give him a bottle of Danku. It's a drink that I wouldn't drink. He would. Okay? Pedro's turn. Pedro, I don't know you
I
very
think
well.
you can get more light
You don't know me very
from
well.
this. On Pedro, I mean. Yeah, that helps.
She
I don't
says,
think he likes it.
Okay. Se acaba.
people don't like Greek lights. I think it would be better a little bit to talk like you had it,
Okay, let's light that aside.
with everybody being self-conscious.
Okay.
When there are no lights, the people don't act for the camera. I don't know much about you, but the little I know, I like. I think you're a fighter like me. Fight. Just fight. And I think you're going to be successful. There was another man I had almost, well, just before you were. He's a nice guy, but he's not a fighter. He's not here anymore. Unfortunately, the company wants fighters. Because they're the only one that produce business, and the company wants more every year. And I'm glad that I'm leaving, because this year was so good that if they wanted any more from me, I would have quit anyway. And also, before you say something, give him the mouth for Benjamin.
Benjamin,
Now,
see.
I'll tell you something to
This is for
you
Benjamin.
in pure confidence. This is a bottle of good liquor, but I don't like it. I don't know Benjamin at all, and I don't know whether if I knew him, I would have liked him or not. I'm glad you didn't bring him, because like you yourself knew, the four of us have been a group, some longer, some less, but a group. But Benjamin is part of Jim's group. Not part of mine. And he can touch it. I'm very sorry. And party. I would have liked to have him here.
Maybe he can watch it on TV.
And if
We can show him the show.
and if you think you have suffered, ask Jim how much he suffered. I tell you one thing, Jim is normally suave and he doesn't scream, he doesn't shout, he doesn't threaten. I'm afraid what would happen if he grew his tongue. Be careful. Because I know what happens when I blow my top. I scream and shout and move and holler, and 15 minutes later, it's over. It may happen again the next day, but I have a safety valve. I have no ulcers. I've never seen a psychiatrist. I've been on many people that said I should, but I didn't. But I always felt that for my sake, I had to get it out of my system when it happened, not to let it accumulate. I hope Jim won't get into a position where it accumulates, because one day I thought he was going to do it to me. And if Jim laid a hand on me, I'm a dead man. I'm just not white in the same league, and you can't put Muhammad Ali and Wilfred Benitez in the same ring. They're both good. But the little son of a gun is gonna lose. Well, if it's a fist fight with Jim, he'll win. If it's any other kind of fight, I'll fight him. And I fought him. But I also taught Jim, or tried to teach him, everything I know. Maybe it's not much. Now, my voice is wearing out. So, I love you all for letting me talk.
Well, it has been nice to be here with you, Hannes, and we want to thank you. We're part of Jim and Benjamin also. This we don't expecting this, but we want to be just a few moments with you to celebrate your birthday and maybe to have your good humor with us, you know.
Well, let me tell you one thing. Since I had a fight today, it took some of my good humor and some of my strength away. I had asked and begged that I would never be in another fight again, because I want to enjoy life. And that's not hers.
No, I want that she gave it back to you.
Después que no me lo pude llevar en tantos años, me lo voy a pagar.
Si usted se lleva esa
Me va a matar.
la mato.
Pues si eso lo sé.
La mato como en el comercial de insecto.
Uno, dos, tres.
Después de eso me iba a hacer.
That's mine. You can
Sí, yo lo sé, yo lo sé.
something I didn't expect to see that. Things sometimes just happen. So you have to let them happen, as the case may be. Something funny. The man who's coming is a neighbor and a good friend. No, you don't have to go.
No, I have to go. I have to go.
If you have to go,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I said that I will be someplace at 6:30 and
You better
I
run.
have to give the uniforms to my baseball team.
Oh.
Orlando's baseball team.
Something. The door is always open.
No, it's okay. Oh, for Julie? Yeah, I know that she's open. She said that she's gonna come to visit you. She's coming to visit us. If you that's okay for
It's alright with her.
yeah.
I tell you one thing. What I hear about does not depend on me.
I know about that.
Give a love. Give sit up here and love.
Because it's good to be done.
Okay. Okay, Hannes.
Ay, qué rico
Nice
huele.
to talk to you.
A ver,
Hope
¿y esa
to talk to
lechita?
you next week.
Está rica.
Are you gonna talk to Carlos Barrera soon?
I hope to talk to him Monday.
No, she's in pretty good.
I have to know about the
Ese es mi
legal
grandpa.
expenses.
Dice que no se lo puedes comer.
Not talk to him. If I have, I will talk to him before Monday.
Okay.
I will talk to him. I think one thing I just,
Pues como dice,
Ya, ¿qué se quiere ir?
Okay, pero
Ya no se siente mucho.
Imagínate, ¿verdad?
Hasta el lunes, Dolores.
Hasta el lunes.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you very much, my dear.
So,
I changed the early marking for a buck. Very, conmigo, ¿no? Yo todavía casi la pasa en la cartera. How many times I was supposed to do that? I don't know. And maybe annoys me. Give me back.
you know something that I will know, because it wasn't a similar box I wanted.
You wanted the one, la señora or
Particular one. That one.
who was who gave it to you? You never said it.
So,
It's a long story connected to this one. And I have to admit to you that at this, no, what did they ask me?
I think a long time ago you told me something about it, right? But I don't
I
remember
think
now.
it has to do with Carlos Moreno,
no,
but I'm not sure.
you could say
Right this minute,
is what?
I was trying to remember, and if I had remembered, I would have told you. And I don't think big executives keep liquor. And
Good one.
no one who gives liquor in that restaurant, drunks.
Excuse me, Melanie and Steve, doing my phone over there called the Rons. Is that okay? Because they want to do our own silhouette.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the easiest things is.
Melanie,
Yeah.
and also remember, even though you sort of asked, you couldn't invite it, huh?
Right, I got you.
It's a present, it's my present
Okay.
from me to you.
To them.
No, to you. Hey, Melanie,
For your present spot.
please, Steve, give your parents my regards. Tell them I already bought my first house completely. My doctor was here yesterday. And I
Steve.
don't know that I have another disease besides cancer. Oh yes, he said, I do.
I'll get out of your way.
I said, you do? Dr. I said, Dr.
Slam the
Morales
fingers.
said, "Met is diarrhea of the mouth."
Nunca lo había oído.
You know why you never heard this? Because that term I invented myself.
So yo estaba metida en eso porque yo
My dog, 137.
For you
137.
and me. Most of us were talking about it.
sí.
Unfortunately,
Tell them
we
hello
can't
from me too, but I think
You have done a wonderful job.
leave me alone. United States and
Or
Ohio.
something.
Stop down. They might ask what number you're calling from. In the last 3 months.
The last few days I wanted to tell you something, but I didn't know how to, so today I said, well, I have a chance to explain
In the
something.
last few days, you told me something outward. But you did the best job for me in the last few days you ever did. I even complained and told there's a witness. And I said, you know something? I better trained to work so well, even though I know she can. And in 1 month, she got a training.
Ay, ay, güey, eso no es verdad, eso no es verdad.
I hope not.
That's not true.
I hope not.
You only saw,
If it's true,
that's not true.
I I felt really bad about
No,
it.
no, pero que con él yo trato, when a person, since you know everything that it has, when a person, I don't know how to explain, como él sabe, entonces yo no me, con Jim yo tengo que hacer más. You know what I mean?
Because he doesn't know.
And then I have to try, I put my mind to things, and maybe with you, I let you do other things.
Buenos días.
I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
We are speaking to you from Puerto Rico.
Business. Why, Jim?
This time we called because Arwen is about ready to go to bed and we thought you'd like to say happy birthday.
Is that Jim did the same thing to me.
See that you,
He started to lean
Yeah, she's right here.
and Jim
Yeah, hold on. Here she
did
comes.
the job
Here she
he
is.
was capable of doing while I was in the office. Never. I think he himself says
Give it back.
She just gave me the phone back. She smiled though big when she hears your voice.
I'm gonna take a
You
picture.
want to say it one more time?
did the job
Okay,
that I
here
know
we
he
go.
would do. And one day, I got so sick and tired.
Say hi,
I
Grandma.
seriously thought of fighting
And the red light's on, it's okay?
because
Yeah. Say hi, Grandma.
when
Say,
a person
hey,
can't,
say hi. Say hi, Grandma.
I'm willing to
Just in
teach
case.
Huh?
If I had it focused.
or try to teach
She's
a
gone.
different person.
She just,
and doesn't do it. And doesn't.
yeah, she seemed
But you
to.
know something? It's Spanish
She
to
does-
say,
That's one thing.
Yeah, I will.
No, I
You haven't got one
Yeah.
yet.
Oh, it's that, I'm sorry, I didn't realize
Que
that's
por
the
mí no
head.
que no venga por mí, no hay mal que por mí no venga. No bad thing is,
Yeah, more or less. No,
it's a sad thing.
not really.
In his office.
We've been staying in.
But you know something?
Right, yeah.
Me son, I'm a much better job. Since I'm not
No.
but when there's a strong person, you know, when you are a very strong person, so that they can see, you know, you know that. So
yes.
the rest of us have to be in another level.
Right on schedule.
And so Jimmy's not a
No
strong person.
changes. Looking forward
Maybe I'm
to
stronger than he is.
bring coats to the airport.
Dolores. I refuse to comment on this because it's being recorded. I think
Después Jimmy está bien.
I think
Erase that from me, erase that. Bueno, si digo que he's not a strong person.
I
So anyway, we just called it. It was nice for you to say happy birthday.
Y ven para allá, oyente, que se me que ella me da la pata.
Your mom is glad to get there yet.
I asked her to shut up.
There's some glasses off on me. There's some glasses being Cynthia.
But this is not a support.
Okay, well,
Good sound? Balls. Well, anyway, there's a new washing station that's much easier. Beyond the tennis courts on the right in the visitors parking lot. Two speakers. Right next to where the cars park.
You know, you can move in very close too. You can focus to within half a meter. The average that is.
I know how much it is. See that?
You can get almost like your face in the full frame. Hey, look over here. That's pretty.
Coming up.
Say hi. gonna get ravioli all over the tape recorder? Just get that. You see yourself over there? You're supposed to be looking over here. This is where the center of attention is. Big difference. Now just oh boy, pretty soon you're going to be saying sentences of that. I wish I had two cameras. Yeah, switch on number one. Need a second hand, like maybe to raise this one. You want to come up over her once just to try? And I have to raise the center plate. I'll just use it. No, I thought you were going to raise it like center plate. No, I think you're going to wait. You just raise this one. I just looked at that way. Hmm? Just careful. It's pretty severe. She's like fascinated. Does this have keys actually? Some fancy. No, that's alright. Throw a deer. Throw a deer. Just mix it up wet. I'm late again, sorry. TV lights. I tell you what, she's eating stinks. Hate to smell it.
Yeah, no, it's
She's too bright.
Too bright. Let's keep the ambient light. This will be fun, I like people do. TV commercial once as part of the radio production, radio and TV production on the set. And so the use of a pretty good studio and GW Medical Center. It's kind of neat. We could switch cameras, we had scripts, and it's all kind of we're going to use all this kind of very primitive for us. And what they had there was pretty sophisticated.
Major the next. Before the major the next. He's working as a photographer for the Chicago Tribune.
Photographer.
Still photography.
Gosh, I just wish we were sharing.
Yeah, your dad hates it.
You're getting some great.
Are you?
Here comes Mama. Say hello.
What? I'm Dick. Daddy wants to see Arwen because he's going to go to bed. So we have to quit.
You got the switch?
Here, Arwen. Here, come on, come on, come on.
Period from last Tuesday to today, Sunday, February 4th, I fear has been the most stressful, and the most violent, and the most exciting period in both your lives, Melanie and Paul. It even has been the most eventful period in my entire life, which is longer, if I don't mistake anything, than both of yours together. Melanie, you're 27. You're 23. You're 50 between us. And I'm 51. Therefore, I'm older than both of you together, and on top of it, my life has been more exciting than either one of yours, as both of you very well know. I have to look at Melanie part of the time, okay? As both of you well know, sometimes I want to look at you, sometimes I want to look at you, because I'm not talking to the camera, I'm talking to my daughter Melanie, to my son Paul, and I get confused real easily because my mind is bad, it stinks. I had an extremely eventful life, but nothing has been as influential on it as these last few days since last Tuesday until today. Very many good things have happened during that time, and for those good things I thank you both. I thank God, I thank Dorothy, and I thank everybody who helped make it possible. Unfortunately, there have also been some events that I wish with all my heart would not have taken place. With all my heart. At this moment, I don't have the strength to examine whether I was right or wrong in throwing Melanie's husband out of my house as I did. I might have been right, but I have to admit that at this moment, ugly as it sounds, I meant to say, I might have been wrong, but at this moment, ugly as it sounds, I fear I was right, Melanie. I apologize for feeling right. This, and Melanie, I apologize for not having the time today to thoroughly review whether I'm right or wrong. I ask you to forgive me for this. I can't even decide tomorrow or the next day, because if God grants me 2 more days, I intend to spend them with you, Paul. I'm not the only guilty party in what happened. That I know for sure. But I know I'm partially guilty. And for what guilt I had, I want to apologize to everybody, including Stephen. But specifically to Dorothy, to you, Melanie, and to you, Paul. Please forgive me. I also want to apologize on behalf of Dorothy, Melanie, and myself to you, Paul, because you're the only one of us, the only one that is absolutely innocent in what happened. You were the typical innocent bystander, but you're a family member and you have to take the bad with the good. But I do apologize on behalf of all those I named. I'm not authorized to speak for Stephen, but I take the opportunity to say that I believe that when Stephen sees this tape, that he would have authorized me to apologize to you on his behalf also.
I believe so.
You believe so also, right? Okay. But I don't want anybody to think that for 1 second that I presume to speak for your husband. Is that clear? There are not many things that I have to say to both of you, because basically what I wanted to say most of all has been said after some.
You just don't want to stick it in your face. You're coughing.
I want this as natural as possible. And I'm getting a little self-conscious now, which I wasn't before. The thing that I'm sorry about, as far as I'm concerned, apart from all the other things that I have said, There is no value scale to decide which is more important to me. But rightly or wrongly, I always have been a proud person. A very proud person. And maybe what is happening to me now is proof that pride goes before fall. I don't know. But I had hoped to die as a proud person. Even if pride is wrong, even if the Bible describes it as a sin, I was always proud. And if it's a sin, then I was always sinful. And there isn't any sense in reforming near the end of my life. I wanted to die the way I was. Events that I think were not of my making forced me on my knees day before yesterday. And I have been on my knees ever since. I hate this. I despise it. I wish this never would have happened in my whole life. I would rather have died with a sin of pride than on my knees, because I stood up all my life. I made many fights, and in many fights I was wrong, and I may have been wrong in the fight with Stephen also, but I've always been a fighter and not a quitter, and not a guy that's on his knees, and guys that have never been on their knees. It's an unaccustomed position, and I hate it. I wanted to die as a fighter. And I tell you, Melanie and Paul, I'm so proud that I am sorry that you saw me on my knees. But it's important for you to know that your father has weaknesses as well as strength. So in that respect, I don't mind. I don't like macho people, and I don't think of myself as macho. And the first person that describes me as macho, I pop him over the head. That's a macho comment. But I believe in equal rights for women. I believe in equal rights for children. And I think I believe in this all my life. Paul and I used to get a lot, because you used to say, you always talk about democracy, but in this house is not a democracy. Do you remember what I used to say in answer? Say, and I'm the dictator. I hate dictatorships. I grew up under dictatorship, and I despise them all. But I always believed that in every household there must be one strong person that makes the decisions, good, bad, or indifferent, because decisions must be made. Unfortunately, your mother, who is the most wonderful lady in the world and the most loving, is not very good at making decisions. She's not very good at disciplining children. All the discipline of both of you fell on my shoulders. And one of the big bones of contention in my marriage was that I blamed my wife for not taking her share of responsibility. I don't want to talk about my wife any further, because unfortunately, right now, she's doing what she always has done best, which is to help me, to prop me up, to do a task for me that at this moment I'm unable to do, because I'm old and because I'm weak. I join you, Melanie, in saying that I've used the word God several times. Melanie, can you get me Kleenex? I haven't used the word God during the rest of my life. Very much. As a matter of fact, as a private joke between Dorothy and myself, I have often said, I am God. Of course, to a true believer like Melanie, that's blasphemy. But I'm not a true believer. I believe in a superior being. I have to blow my nose. I believe in a superior being, or if not a being, more probably a superior power to all of us, because it would be presumptuous for man to assume that we're the best there is, and if we're the best there is, the universe is in trouble. The earth is already in trouble. I hope with all my heart that elsewhere in the universe there are societies that are better, that are formed of good people, people who do not take drugs, people who do not steal, people who do not lie, people who dedicate their lives to making their fellow being life pleasant instead of human beings who often do the opposite. I don't believe in God as you do, Melanie, per se. Even though at one time I had the same religion you did. I was raised as a very devout Lutheran. And at the age of 14, I quit the church after I was confirmed in the Lutheran faith. And I quit the church because I lived in a house of a Lutheran minister who had kindly taken me in when my mother died. But even though he had taken me in, was the biggest hypocrite and the most despicable human being I ever met in my whole life. I lived in his house. He was a true dictator. He was completely different at home than he was on the pulpit on Sunday morning. He was a true dictator. He ran his house with an iron hand, and he almost killed his wife. While this may also be blasphemy, I lived in his house, and his wife took care of me. And when air raids came, I used the same air raid shelter that they did. On the day that a bomb fell all the way through into that shelter and exploded, killing everybody, I wasn't there. My life was spared. But this hypocrite died, and as horrible as it sounds, I was glad then, and I'm glad now. Unfortunately, with him died his wife, who was a saint, and may God bless her. And with him also died the deacon and his wife. And a small child and a Catholic nurse who worked in a hospital across the street. I'd like to stop for a minute, please. Start again. I asked that the taping and recording be stopped when I had an emotional outburst, not because I am ashamed of either one of you seeing me cry. A true man has to know how to cry and when to cry. I want to explain why I cried, and while I explain it, I might become overwhelmed by emotion again, in which case I want this stopped a second time. I cried because when I related this incident, I thought about the innocent people that died with this despicable man who had the temerity to call himself a man of God when he was the most base, selfless, selfish human being I have ever met. His wife was a saint. The deacon was a nice man. The deacon's wife was a nice lady. The baby still had the innocence of all babies and therefore can't be guilty of anything. And the Catholic nurse was a stranger in the house of the Lutherans, but the wife of this despicable man, whose name I can't remember, but I remember him perfectly, was such a saint that she also took in the Catholic nurse to live in the house and thus inadvertently caused her death. Melanie asked me while the camera was shut off why I didn't die. I was on vacation when this happened and my life was saved. If I had been there, I would have been dead. The bomb fell all the way down into the basement before it exploded, and the wall collapsed, and the people were found in such a way that it became obvious that they didn't die instantly. They died horrible deaths from horrible injuries that lasted God knows how long. I'm close to death, but I'm not afraid of death. But I'm afraid of a death that might be like those people's death. I have to admit that I'm afraid of a lousy death. I keep using the word God, Melanie, simply because it means something to you. I would use superior power, maybe. Okay? But since it's easier, let's just say that I'll say God instead of superior power. I said God until I was confirmed. And until I was confirmed, I believe that man I mentioned confirmed me. He was a bastard. I don't say that all religious people are bastards. No. But what I do say, that any person who claims any religion, whether it be Lutheran, Catholic, Jewish, Hinduism, Mohammedanism, Buddhism, and I apologize to the many that I haven't mentioned, any religions, all of which, in my mind, are equally good. But anyone who claims a religion, who does not really practice it, is a worse hypocrite than a person who does not claim a religion. Because if a man walks into my house and he says, I am a God-fearing man, I'm a man of the cloth, I'm a minister, and I'm here to help you die, son, I let him in. If he robs me, it's worse than the guy that comes in with pistol shooting, and I know from the beginning that he's going to rob me. So I say to you, Melanie, now that you have found a religion that unfortunately I couldn't give you because I had lost it at 14, having that religion places an even greater obligation on you.
I know, and it's taken me a long time to get into the religion, and I understand and accept it, and I'm willing to work for it.
Melanie, in that case, the happy happiest thing for me is that you are a Lutheran. I'm happy that because I was also a Lutheran, even if I'm not anymore. And God bless you. And you don't always succeed. But Melanie, you must try harder than other people, much harder, even harder than I do, because you describe yourself as religious. You don't have to succeed, but you must be trying all the time. Okay.
Part of the commitment.
Paul, if you ever took on a religion, which you don't have to do for me, because I gave both of you an upbringing that I hope you know is in accordance with the teaching of the Bible, both the Old and New Testament. I gave neither one of you a formal religion, because I think, Melanie, that if you want Arwen to be a Lutheran, you have to go with her. You have to go with her to church. You have to go with her to confirmation. You have to hold her hand. And if I went to
It's a family thing, too.
I hope that your husband will join you, not on some Sundays, but I make a plea to your husband that he join you every time you go. Every time. Please go. Or quit going altogether. If I hadn't been a Lutheran, the thing I most would have liked to be is a Jew. Your mother is a Jew, but unfortunately, she doesn't practice her religion any more than I practice Lutheranism. You two were almost raised as Jews. As a matter of fact, she took you to the temple, and you had some lessons in Hebrew. The reason why there was no follow-through, that she made it a condition that I convert to Judaism and that I participate. I said to her, you start, and when you show me that you can follow through on this, that you're serious, that this isn't just a passing fancy, like the latest diet, I might convert to Lutheran. I might convert to Judaism. But you're not going to tell me what I must do. You practice Judaism with the kids, if you wish, with my complete blessings. But you don't threaten me. I am not a Jew yet, except at heart. And if I were to become a formal Jew, it would be at my own initiative, not because you threaten me. Therefore, I tell you, Paul, I don't care if you ever adopt a religion, or if you do, what religion it is. But I have to say, I have a preference. If you were to become religious, and we've kidded about this before, but now I'm serious, I would prefer you became a Jew. Don't think that this places you under any obligation at all whatsoever. But that is my preference. Can I stop for a minute? Are you recording? Whispering, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whispering. The taping had to be discontinued for a moment because my voice gave out. I have 2 voice levels left. This one, which is a low whisper, and the other one, which is a slightly louder whisper. if I try to shout, bad things happen, both to my vocal cords and to my insides and to the people that have to listen to it. Unfortunately, I kind of lost the thread of the story right now. But I want to go back a little ways, and I want to say this. This may be a repetition of something I said before. And if so, Paul, I'm sure, will be the first one to say when he hears the replay, Daddy, you said that before. That's an old joke. I was talking about how stressful and eventful the last few days were. I hate to leave this with you, but while I realize that all of you were stressed beyond capacity, except Paul, I know that Melanie was stressed beyond capacity. I know that Stephen was stressed beyond his capacity. And I know that Dorothy was stressed beyond her capacity. Paul, you were stressed to very near your capacity. But since you're staying, I am happy to think that you're not breaking. I broke several times. I know that I was strained way beyond my capacity. Not beyond my capacity as a healthy person, but way beyond my capacity as a sick person. Yes. I'm sorry. There were too many tickets, Melanie. This Chinese laundry has more rules than a laundromat. So, too many tickets, which all of you understand as a family joke, might best describe the many rules I tried to make in the last few days. These rules were very selfish because they were made only to protect myself. I made them myself, and some of them I even wrote out. I'm sorry I had to do this. Or if I didn't have to do it, I'm even more sorry that I did it. I felt I had to do it. I felt that my strength, that was so limited, had to be preserved as much as possible. Today, my strength is lower than it ever has been, but I'm of good spirits, and my mind, while it has been affected by all of this, definitely, my mind is slower, my reasoning is slower. I don't understand sometimes when Paul jokes with me and I get angry because I take serious what I would never have misunderstood before. It makes me ill to think that I'm so ill that I can't take a joke, because believe me, if there was ever somebody who wanted to go down laughing, I'm the guy. And I still hope to recover. I hope to spend most of today in bed. I've recovered before, and I'm going to try to recover again, because tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday will be days that I hope to enjoy with you, Paul, just with you, because you deserve an extra special thing, because in the midst of all of this, you managed to be loyal to Stephen, to Melanie, to your mother, and to me. You were never disloyal to anybody, and you tried at all times to be helpful to everybody. Paul, for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I don't mind the men who cry, and I'm again being overcome I would like to stop for another minute because I want to say some more things without crying. Please stop. By now, this whole tape may be disjointed and incoherent. If it is, there may be two reasons: that my mind has been affected and it's disjointed and not always coherent, but I try to keep it pulled together. But the other reason is that due to various non-technical reasons, we had to stop too many times and start too many times. Actually, our director, who has had no previous experience at all, has done an outstanding job. And Melanie, I want you to join me in an applause for the director.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The idea we thank you for.
Thank you, thank you.
Paul, this was the greatest idea of your life, and the monetary cost is insignificant in relation to the idea. But I want to say that I understand that Melanie and Stephen contributed to the money. I understand that Dorothy contributed to the money, and I thank all three of you. But you have to forgive me if mostly I thank Paul for thinking this up. As I said someplace or other, which may be a long time ago, I spent a lot of time on my knees, and I'm up from my knees right now. And please, God, don't force me to my knees again. Let me die with sinful pride, but let me die the way I was, proud and strong. I don't despise men who cry, because only the machos don't cry. A real man has a heart, and a real man can cry. The reason why I didn't want all the crying on tape is because sometimes it gets out of hand, and instead of a few tears, it becomes an emotional outburst, and the emotional outburst doesn't any good to be on this tape. I think I also said I wasn't afraid of dying, and that is true. But I'm afraid that I might have a horrible death. There are some friends that have assured me that they will do everything they can to ease my death, to where I don't have to face the fact that I know already that I am a coward, and that if there's a lot of pain, I will break down. I want to thank Dorothy, my wife, for offering to let me die at her side, for offering to hold my hand. And I want to thank Dr. Javier Morales, who is both my principal doctor and has been for quite some time, but much more than a doctor. He became a personal friend during this time. Dr. Javier Morales is a very able young man and knowledgeable beyond his 28 years. I thank him for pointing out that I am old enough to be his father, and I told him that I'm not only old enough to be his father, but I'm old enough to be his legitimate father, because he's 28 and I've been married for almost 31 years, well over 30 years, to the same woman, which may not be as easy as 30 years with 3 different women. But it's different anyway in this day and age. My marriage has had many happinesses and many unhappinesses. But it held together, which is a miracle. And even though right now I'm fighting with Dorothy, for which I'm sorry, I hope that we can straighten this fight out before I die, because I would hate to die this way. She's done so much for me, and is doing so much for me, that she deserves better than the feelings that I have for her right now. I hope that it'll be in my heart to change these feelings. To do so, I must have rest and peace and quiet, because I really don't know what in the hell is the matter with me. I think sometimes during the last few days that I've been insane. Somebody who sees this later might think I'm insane now. But needless to say, the biggest nut that ever lived thought he was sane. Hitler thought he was sane. Nixon still thinks he is sane. My apologies to Mr. Ron Sr., who might still think he's sane. If he doesn't think so, my congratulations to Mr. Ron Sr., because anybody who really thinks that Nixon is sane is an idiot. I can't judge my own sanity, but it's a very uncomfortable feeling for me to feel that my mind has been affected, and that I know it has been affected. If I didn't know, it would be easier, and I would be easier to live with. The reason why I've been so horribly demanding, so cranky, and so nasty is that I feel, in addition to very weak and sick from cancer, I feel sick from the knowledge that my brain has been affected. I feel sick because I thought always that my brain was the best thing I have, and now that my body is completely shot, and now that Javier Morales says that only my mind keeps me going, to know that my mind is failing is very painful. Again, I apologize for what I did wrong. And if I did wrong in throwing out Stephen Ron out of my house, I even apologize to him. I have to still admit that as of this moment, I can't take it back. And there are other more important things to do first. I'm conscious that I think I said the same thing once before. Did I, Paul? Paul's my conscience. Paul counts. He knows what I said before. Did I? Tell me yes. Yes, he said. There's much more to say. This could be the last time that I see either one of you. But I would rather that we didn't get teary about it, even if it's true. The possibility of a miracle in a biblical sense always exists. And I ask you, Melanie, to ask your whole church to pray for a miracle for me. Because one thing is sure, nothing but a miracle can prolong my life more than maybe a few days, weeks, or at the utmost a few months. How long I live will depend in part on how hard I fight. And Again, I asked you, Paul. I said before that I want to fight to have 2 good days with you. Did I say that before? I said that before. I say it again and again and again and again. I want to spend 2 good days with you. I'm sorry that I, due to my own fault, was deprived of spending the time with Arwen that I had hoped to spend with her. Due to illness, due to fights, some of them started by me, some of them brought to me without my wish, due to circumstances beyond everybody's control. I didn't get to spend as much time with Arwen as I would like to. For the next hour, before Arwen leaves, I would like to spend as much time with her as I can, just watching her, which is what I enjoy most. I'm also sorry for Arwen, whose birthday party didn't go according to her mother's wishes. Actually, I was happy because Arwen and I together blew out the 1 candle on our joint birthday cake. Arwen and I were born on the same day, February 2nd, and I was reborn on the day of her birth, February 2nd, 1978. For me, it was a pleasure and a privilege to have Arwen sit in my lap on what was our joint first birthday. I was fortunate in being allowed to celebrate on February 2nd 2 birthdays. My 51st by actual years and my first of my rebirth. It's not likely that I'll have another birthday, but it's not impossible. And all of you, Melanie, don't cry. Melanie, I'm going to do my utmost to make it possible to see you again, to see Arwen again, and to see Paul again. But in order to do so, you would have to come here, because I don't want to travel anymore, because it's too hard on me. Unfortunately, another thing happened. I had a serious problem with my company just at the moment when I retired for sickness on account of health reasons. After 21 years and 2 months exactly, this company, which had treated me fairly well for the last 2 or 3 years, suddenly treated me like dirt. Being the fighter that I am, I'm fighting back, and I might sue the sons of bitches for $1 million. And if I have a good case for a suit, Dorothy will sue them for $1 million. After I'm dead, a lawyer has to decide whether I have a good suit or not. I also have money worries because I made a horribly bad investment in the name of Dorothy. This has been discussed between all of us repeatedly, and it doesn't have to be on this tape. I want to end this recording by saying that I'm down, but I hope I'm not out. I'm still fighting. This is the agreement. I'm reading it out.
Okay.
The moment I'm finished, I'm asking you to please sign it.
Okay.
And the moment you sign it, might be in the place. Get Steve to sign.
Can I make a suggestion?
No.
Okay.
Bring me a pad.
Oh, okay. And then you want a pen too, right?
I'll take it. Dorothy, I'm sorry. What's the situation?
And somebody else read it, so you don't have to wear off your voice.
I don't read. I'm reading it quietly.
Oh,
Dorothy, I don't need all these suggestions.
What do you mean, little? Don't worry.
I told you to take pictures. I told you. Melanie, Harvard needs to be attended to. She's in a non-baby proof area.
Or you can just get there.
What are you doing?
Mabel,
Yes?
I would consider it a personal favor
Whoops, that's another.
if you would blank out the point where I'll let your mother.
Okay.
Just blank it out and be Nixon. If you take a little bit before and after, that's okay.
Okay.
About this size.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I think this is a better one. Yeah.
Look at this. Who's that? Who's that? Do your dance for Paul. Da 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 da. Hello. Da 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 da.
Don't make her act, please. Please. Be with her.
That's not acting. That's a show we do in front of the mirror before she takes a bath.
Be with her. Be with her at all times. Melanie, do me a favor. For my sake, ourselves.
I have to take this drink to Steve. I'll be right back.
What's the book of Hannes? She's
Take a bed.
okay.
I'm gonna turn that switch off over there.
Do what?
Turn the switch off for a second. It's over on the edge of the buffet.
Do you want me to leave her in here? Or not?
Daddy said, he said, doesn't care.
If she's here, Melanie, she can't be unattended.
Melanie? He just said she can't be unattended if she is here.
I have to take her back because I can't carry her suitcases.
First, first tense word in the first line struck out.
Okay.
You had a good morning.
You're fucking. You stink to the end.
Do you understand this?
Yes.
Here you go.
Turn away from me.
Can you feed Ireland? Can you feed Ireland? Bring the carbon copy. Bring the carbon copy. Feed Ireland. Have Melanie come here.
What do you say? What do you say?
She could with your pants and
Wait a second. Before you feed her.
there you go.
How many corrections were there?
One in paragraph 2. That's just how I added, and then 2 words left out again.
Typed at the bottom of the original only. Okay?
Type all of this, the party signing.
Right?
Okay.
Right. What is it? Right. 7. Period. Small a period. The party signing, etc. Okay.
The party signing, etc.
Dorothy, come here.
Okay.
You're looking so dumb again. Here. You leave a space. You say 7 period.
Oh, I see. That's the
7A period. Okay.
Okay.
Don't say 7A period.
Like that? See?
Paragraph.
Okay.
7A. No.
Oh, that comes down. That's the introduction to the
7A goes right here. 7A.
party signing.
No period.
Okay. Gotcha. I understand. That's the designation of what I'm adding.
The rest of it will start in line with this as close as you can make it, okay?
Okay.
I give you page 1 of 2. I give you page 2 of 2. Treat them like raw eggs.
Okay.
Where are the cookies?
Oh. Oh, wait, yeah, that's the original one.
Okay. Melanie,
Yes.
I need you as soon as possible to read this agreement with your husband
Okay.
and to ask to tell me if you have any questions. Okay.
Yes.
You have any questions? You sign in the middle. Your mother signs in the middle. All signs in the middle. I sign, you take it out, Steve signs.
Yes.
The time is getting very short, okay?
Yes.
Take this right away to Steve. Tell him the omission. 11 paragraph 7A. It says that this, and this was done before signing.
Yeah. Someone has to sit with Arwen.
Just sit. Just sit.
Well, yeah, so she doesn't dive out of the high chair, you know.
I will do that. Melanie,
Yes.
I hope there are no questions. But if there are, please come and tell me.
Yes.
Paul!
Want me to call Paul for you?
Where is he?
Paul? Oh, he's in the bathroom.
Ask him, is he recording?
Is he recording? Are you recording, Paul? Yeah, he's recording.
Hey, you don't candid. You don't candid camera. Hey, baby, was you somewhere? Is she still on? Talk to me. Talk to me. Why not? I got a lot to say. I never been. That's right. Oh, it's good. It's good.
It's good to me.
Tastes awful.
Good to me.
Tastes like worse than Mike.
It's okay.
Is he picking up our noises?
Oh, I'm sure.
No, I don't care. About me, huh? What else we got? What else we got? Do you love your mother? You love Papa? Will you feed me? Give me some to eat. You're a messy eater. That's because your mother never gives you a spoon. Your mother should give you a spoon to eat with. Why don't you ask your mother for a spoon? Why don't you ask your mother?
Spoons are in the store here.
It sounded like the right size spoon, I don't know. If your mother won't give you a spoon, I'll give you a spoon. You know your mother's gonna be mad at me. Here's a spoon. Show the camera that you know how to use it. It's like this.
Oh, okay.
The sound is on.
Okay.
And the camera's on.
Hey there.
She's using it.
Spoon, you mean?
Is that just natural? Or?
Well, she's been using it with her cup. You want a pee? For me? No. No.
She just lost a cracker on
Yeah.
That's nice.
Hey, you want to be a good girl? And show us how good you is?
We're nearly reached it now.
Oh, excuse me. Should be right there. Yeah.
How you like that spoon there? How you like that spoon? What else do you use that? Here, try eating some. Here. Put that in your mouth.
Open your mouth. Mouth this one. Open your mouth.
You see the felt tip pen?
I have one that
But they're using just now?
yes, no.
No, I don't know. Yes? Steve says that he made a handshake with you on this. Made it acceptable. One day away from all. He signed his book that
Okay.
Do you do anything?
All set. Do not worry. Do not worry. Do not worry. I'll see that.
Thank you, Sancito.
Doesn't worry.
Hijo.
Hijito.
Are you filming now? Oh, because this is just...
Just close to the time.
yeah, I've heard Howard heard all.
Excuse me?
Can you get home?
Yeah.
Oh, don't cry.
Okay. Let me see the handkerchiefs. Hey, where's your bottle? Huh? Oh, maybe not. Oh,
Here.
and your drinking thing?
Here it is.
There you are. Oh, I can't get it. But that's all right.
Oops.
Here, come on. Here, let me straighten you up. Okay. Tell you what, we'll wash your face with a wash. Here. Are you gonna film her in the tub or is it not on the thing?
If she's in the tub.
Okay. Oh, I'll give her a banana. Can you bring it? Is there time to get it? Hey there. I'll take one. You want to try a little of this? Good. That's real good. Yeah. Try it. Try it. good idea. Ready?
Ready. Anytime.
Daddy asked me to, he explained something to me.
You don't have to try.
Okay. He explained something to me and asked me to explain it to you. So, this is because I do things in a nice way. And this is explained to you before. It's just happens to be a very handy example of something that involved you. But I think it's probably the most innocuous of, or the least problematical of the things that have, of the problems that have come up.
You can even speak quieter.
Okay. And I found it very handy because I think I understood exactly what Daddy had in mind. Sometimes it's hard to explain what somebody else thinks because it hasn't gone through your own system or something. And I personally have had some problems with Daddy because of not understanding. So I'm glad at taking on something that I'm sure I understand. So, anyway, the specific thing Daddy wanted to communicate with you was the things that are happening to him and how we interact. And one of them was the problem with coherency. Sometimes when he wakes up, it's hard to, the words get mixed up, or when, alliterations or something like that. And I think we all understand that. And I do, I think. And we just have to be patient. Sometimes, of course, this is where I go wrong. He pauses and tries to keep his thoughts straight, and if you interrupt, which is my great feeling, then he loses his train of thought. And what he needs from us very badly is to help him avoid anything that strains him, so he can use all his energies to hold himself together and fight the cancer. So, this example we decided to use was this thing about the joking, kidding around with him. And he said the reason that he's sorry he even had to ask you and explain this to you, because that's one of the things he used to love to do most, was to kid around, and very much with you too. Anytime you want to say anything, you can say anything if you think I'm not expressing myself very well. So when the time came when he realized that some connections in the brain or whatever made it hard for him to realize when people were just kidding him and not serious, he asked you, and I guess all of us, but I guess particularly you, at least when I was around, not to kid with him, because he was afraid that sometimes he wouldn't know when you were kidding or when you weren't. Sometimes he knows, he says. And he kids, which that's another reason why I wanted to explain it to you, because it might be misleading, because you see him kidding, so you think, well, if he can kid, why can't you kid? But somehow it doesn't work that way. So he said it's not your fault at all. It's the fault of the disease because of this, probably the blood supply in his head or something, and just being worn out and not enough sleep with waking up every hour and so. So I think those all have to take their toll. So you've been as I say, the biggest help of all the people. So this is just something that went wrong. So now I have to look at my notes because Daddy says sometimes, or often, he tries to joke consciously because it keeps you. It's better than being too serious all the time. So when he does joke, very often it's just to lighten the mood. Now, see if I hope I get everything right. Oh yeah, when you were kidding with Daddy, you were using your own judgment on whether he could take it or not that time. He seemed to you to be pretty good mood or whatever, I suppose. Am I right? And so you figured you could.
Yes.
Right. So he just wasn't. Like this is, I'm going to quote him now because he told me to quote him. He said he was very proud that he had called the fight very early, decided how he thought it would go. And he'd guessed a technical knockout or a knockout, I think it was, in the 8th, 12th round. And until you kidded, he had predicted the fight almost correctly. And his daddy, he said, well, maybe he was bragging too, which maybe provoked it a little, saying, he said, I almost predicted exactly the outcome. And he says, now he can see, looking back, that he could see you were kidding. But when you said something like it was the 13th round, not to the 8th or 12th, or that it was missing a round or something like that, he thought you were serious, and he lost his head, and he didn't know you were kidding. And he said it's painful for him because he can see that the sharpness has gone out of his mind, or not constantly and all the time, but he can't be that perceptive, and he feels very bad about that. So the way to avoid making him feel bad about something, which would be a nice thing to do since he's got so many other things to struggle with, is to not kid him at all unless he says, okay, you can kid me if you want. And that was what he asked you once before, and now I'm sure you understand.
Yes.
Good. Okay. I think I do too, but that's not my trouble is this interrupting business. So then he one thing I don't think I did it like exactly he asked me to, so but I think maybe he did later on, and that was to mention this thing about in helping him get through this period. He knows it's difficult for us to adjust to all the things that bother him, that he wanted us to not to think in terms of trying, but in think in terms of succeeding. And like you did when the John de Jesus, you were in there to win, not to try to win, but to win. And he used the example with Melanie, with me, of things that we succeeded in. And he said, if we succeed 80% and fail 20%, that's a very good record. But even that small failure hurts him. And he says it's like hitting him below the belt when he's down, but not out. He knows he should. I wrote here, he knows he has to, but can't. I guess he means that he should be able to put up with some of the things some of our failures, but he just can't. He just can't take the strain and the stress. So that explains why everything adds up. We just gotta try. It's down to the two of us now. When you go away, it'll be mostly me. So now he wanted to. Do you want to say anything? Because I'm just blah 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 blah. So far, you understand what he was trying to explain?
Yes.
Okay. Then he just wanted to. He compared himself to the Escalera, and he underlined a quote from the fight, or from after the fight. And he feels he sort of can compare himself to Escalera, because his one eye was almost closed and he couldn't see the blow coming. And the quote is, I couldn't stop those lefts because my left eye was closed. It says here, if he does not change his mind, he went out. Oh, excuse me, I'm ahead of myself. I think
I've read that.
Yeah, I can't figure out how it could be his left eye, because the left hook or whatever, the left hit would come from the right side. So
that's interesting. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, and I know that. So, but that's anyway minor. Daddy says, it's kind of an interesting thing because he has to close his one eye to write and one eye to read because of the problem with the focusing. And it's a similar thing in the sense that in Escalera it was physical, and with Daddy it's more mental. His level of understanding is impaired. And I'll mention this again, although I think I did at the beginning. He picked this example of the kidding, not because it's the worst at all, but just to, and not to make a mountain out of a molehill, just because it was very recent, it was very fresh in our minds, and I happened to be observing it. And he says, he says, please treat Paul with love and understanding and care, because you've been really a rock for all of us.
Thank you.
And that I think we could just take that part and leave that permanent, because the hugs you've given me, that has meant a ton. And I think I saw Melanie leaning on you, and I see Daddy leaning on you. So we all appreciate that tremendously. So, and all of us I'm commenting here what Daddy says, but it's from my heart too, that we all put you on an unbearable strain.
It's not unbearable.
Not unbearable. Okay, you're bearing up very good, and that's terrific.
Thank you.
And I personally want to apologize for my part, and I don't have to go into that now, but I guess you know.
I don't feel you have anything to apologize for.
So, well, if I were better organized, some things wouldn't get quite so strained, I think. This is important too. He doesn't want us to inadvertently contribute to, or actually precipitate his death. You know, if we get him all excited, something could happen. So he's telling us these things so we can do all in our power to avoid that kind of thing. So, because he's very concerned that we would have any lasting feelings that we, you know, let's say if he died and we say, oh gee, if I hadn't done this or if I hadn't done that. He's thinking of our feelings in that sense, and he wants to avoid it as much as, you know, just avoid it, period. And then he recalled here that Melanie said, but Daddy, you don't understand. I'm trying to do my best. And he says, it's a time for us to do our best. Not to do, to try, but to do it, or better. And it's a big order. And, let's see. All the things I do, I can't remember now. I should, because I should tell you that one of the worst things I do, you know, is interrupting Daddy, and then he loses his train of thought, and that's why he screams and gets upset. Or I forget things. He asks me to get him this and this, and I only remember one of the things instead of two of the things. And so as I say, you're the least of the problems. And Daddy says he's more grateful to you than anyone else, and he's more ashamed of anything that problems he caused to you. And Daddy says you stepped right in the middle of the fight. He told you that before, and about the loyalties and everything. So, that sums it up. He just wanted to make sure that you understand how he feels.
Yes, I do.
And you don't you don't have any comment or anything?
No.
No? Okay. Well, we did it.
Congratulations.
Now, the only thing, okay, you can turn it off. Now, if we want to tape something that we want to make permanent, then we have to, that is to see that first, and we have to tape over this. So we should have used another tape first.
We can be done.
What do we tape? This isn't taping now.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. He suggested, see, I forgot one big thing. But did you see Daddy's comment about Escalera? Okay. If
he doesn't change his mind about hanging up his gloves, he still went out like a man.
Right. And the main thing what he meant was that the man has responsibilities, he's got a wife and a child, and if he goes and fights like a stupid man in a fight and gets his brains knocked out, then he will be useless. So.
And useless.
Yeah, right. So, but Daddy likes to think of himself as a fighter, but not a stupid one. I think, you know. So.
There's nothing really I think I can say in response, because I felt that I I said it all last night.
Oh, you had a long talk with him again last night?
No, just right after the session that you're referring to.
Oh, yeah. Well, I figure out it's going to be when my time comes. I think completely different because I'm a different person. But I don't know. You know, I had never had strains like that put on me. This is the damnedest disease with all these. You know, it's nothing dramatic. It's just a series of, like, torturous things.
I understand.
Yeah, and that's what's bad on all the sweating and coughing and the swelling and the tongue and the eyes and the thinking interrupted. And then the drugs probably have some effect. Weakness, lost appetite, all those things. You know, it's just we have to fight all these little battles. So, oh, gee, I just remembered something else. And I don't think I wrote it down. But anyway, I think he thinks of himself as a brave person, and I do too. Not in the macho sense. Silly, brave. Plus, I think that, and this affects me too, and he knows it, and he's sympathized with me. The uncertainty about everything, every day brings up, you don't know what's going to be next. And, you know, it's not like going into battle in the war. You know, one great battle, and you go into battle and you die in a blaze of glory, and that's it. Some intentions. So, to relieve some of the tensions, you're going to get us Chinese dinner so I don't have to cook.
Gladly.
Yeah. Daddy was suggesting, you know, what we could do for taping, for the part that we're going to keep. Could be us in the kitchen, could be us eating, could be us kid here when it's cold. And I think it's... Okay. Do you think you can sleep?
Yes.
So Paul could finish this later and take a swim now? Oh, honest? Oh, we're going to get the other side so we can see it close?
Okay.
Somewhere
Just
right
put it
about
a
there.
little above eye level.
Right there's...
You want to see it?
That's perfect for me.
You want to walk into the bedroom, the other bedroom, and see if you can see my full figure.
Your full figure? Oh,
Well,
think
I mean, up at least my head down.
Are you recording now?
it could be a little higher. The camera could be aimed a bit higher.
Okay.
The head is cut off by about an inch or two. And there's the glare from the outside obscures everything.
Excuse me?
Cut this off.
Absolutely.
One thing is like you. Okay. Yeah, of solving the problem of getting you your codeine. Morales could phone the Round Hill drugstore. They know his number. They know his number. So that. Oh, that's more close. That's one thing. I saw his contacted me at the hospital and asked me to call Roundhill and told me to have his prescription. And I think they would honor a prescription.
Yes?
I think it's still off.
No, I just turned it on again.
Okay. Then I'm going to interfere. You know that the idea is, I understand where they're getting the picture. The idea is that you try that both the filaments will be running exactly where the lead is. The other one behind.
I'll move towards the desk.
And the lower one in front. Okay? Are we in agreement?
Yes.
Then we also agree that there's a
there's all a big glow behind it. You can't see him at all hardly because of the glare from behind.
Okay.
What did I say?
The knot tends to slip and you tie the second foot.
You probably need help. I can't.
What I'll probably do is I'll tie the knots without having the screws in, and then so they're a little closer, and then stretch them out.
I trust that you know what you're doing.
Thank you.
You know that it must be absolutely level.
That's correct.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I now sign off from this job because I'm too tired. Okay?
Right.
Paula, get the best picture. Make sure they have your face on the camera that way with the light on your front.
Okay.
Just sort of like an apparition from outer space.
You know that even the stage directions will be on the tape.
Right, I understand.
Okay?
This is just...
Dorothy. The weight suddenly has become the biggest problem there is. When you talk to Morales, say you drop to whatever.
Yeah. 125.
You wrote it down someplace.
No, I got it in my head because I want to put it right on the letter.
Okay. Put it on the letter.
Yeah.
That if he knows any surefire method that will get my strength and weight back
Right.
quicker,
Okay.
please do it. Even if it's in disaccord with what we discussed before.
Okay.
I do not think I'm dying of cancer.
I agree with you.
I think I'm dying from exhaustion.
I agree with you.
I think that he was right, that I have to exercise my brain.
Right.
But I think, like everything else I do, I overdid it.
Yeah, I think you did.
You know,
Should
there's
I-
not a single thing,
Yeah.
not a single thing in my whole life that I ever did moderately. I either don't do it at all, or I overdo it.
Well, you never got grossly obese, so... But you
I got
should...
fat,
Yeah, but you...
not obese.
Right.
Okay, but I either work too hard or too little.
Right.
This hard, I can't work.
Right. Why don't you drink some of the soup before you go to sleep in any case?
Stir it up.
Because that'll solve, prevent the problem. Excuse me, camera. Right away. Postpone the worst part. Yeah, I know. Just get it in.
No, I might just fall asleep.
Okay.
While all this commotion is going on.
Great.
I need the order of priority today is I want to have fun with Paul.
Number one. Okay.
Tell Paul.
Okay.
It's my number one priority.
With number one son.
Number one son. Number one priority is having fun.
Right.
But I must sleep.
Okay.
And I must try doing it.
Right.
Or I'm gonna fade away.
Exactly. Okay. So I can try to get her Paul. I should try to dress and stuff and be in the picture a while and then,
Dorothy, this tastes real good.
great.
And I might ask for a refill, okay?
Wonderful. Best medicine.
Leave me a spoon.
Yeah.
So I can stir it up.
Okay.
Because all this stuff is in the bottom. Leave the noodles too.
Okay. We'll have to leave this plate anyway. So put the cup in the spoon. All right. I'll be back. Maybe I'll try to get Javier first. Lunchtime is coming, and then I'll shower. It's more important, I think.
You get him at the hospital.
I can try.
You know how?
Yeah, I got all the numbers.
But I'm sorry that all of that's gonna be on the tape too, huh? Huh?
That's okay.
Well, I didn't like Stephen drowning my talk out, and maybe you don't like my coughing as a background to your quiet.
That's okay.
Can I tell you a couple of things?
Sure.
I must sleep and I must eat, okay? But there's nothing else I have to do today that's more important than having fun with you,
Right.
talking to you, spending time with you. But if I fall asleep, I fall asleep. Okay.
I understand.
So I'm gonna first eat a little, then I'm gonna lie here. If I fall asleep, I'm gone. You swim. You're gonna have a hell of a time getting that second screw screwed in. If you make it short, I tell you that.
I'll try it once, and then I can always come back and do it another way.
Correct. I agree. And also, I already violated my agreement to stop interfering.
You can violate it as often as you wish.
You know something, Paul? I don't know any better. You said that you thought the coat would fit if you wore a suit.
That's correct.
In that case, why don't you try on one of my suit jackets and put it on again?
Okay.
Because that's what you have to see. If then it looks okay, then we keep it for you. Can you tell your mother that I need juice?
I brought some juice right there.
Paul, take this away. I can't eat it. This whole coughing spell was brought on by the fact that a piece of noodle stuck. And I couldn't get it up. And I couldn't get it down. That's scary as hell, huh?
I know.
And I was ready for this just in case. And it was time. You saved me just in time. Oh, Jesus. Since I've asked you so many favors, I'm not embarrassed to ask one more.
Yes.
When you're through with this job,
I can't make it any tighter than that.
Okay, the tighter the better, that's all I can say. Okay? Because you see it at the ends. By yourself, you can't tie them.
You're probably right.
In that case, Paul, you're better off going back to your original method of tying it up short and trying now how to get the screw in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I guarantee you that, Paul,
Yes.
I guarantee you that when you try to tie the knot, it will slip a lot. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And now you can turn right around. Pull hard. Pull hard because it stretches. Hey, Paul, that was very good.
That's what I brought this tape for.
Hey, you haven't made me the sketch yet of how you fix the tie. See, I need it. Not now. I can send you a Washington.
I think with 2 words I could explain it better than I could draw it. It's just a longer bolt.
Paul, I want to see it draw.
Okay,
The rubber thing is in there,
that's great.
but it's not in there tight. It doesn't fill up the hole. Or does it?
It seems to be equal to the other one, at least.
One time, it fell out on the bottom by itself.
I don't think that'll happen this time.
So it's just a longer bolt.
Put a metal washer.
What does the metal washer there? The porcelain.
No, it just hits the rubber.
Um,
Only so that when you pull up on the bolt,
Hans,
it
I'm
compresses
talking
the
to
rubber.
Javier, and he says he thinks maybe that Almeno will work better than codeine, and then we'll get the pill so he can see what we're talking about, the same thing. And whether you want, right now you can tell me if there's anything about what you know about it. This is just to help you sleep.
I never took one.
You never took one? Okay.
Never.
Well, that might help the problem. Okay.
Dorothy,
Yeah,
talk to him about the weight problem.
I did. He's thinking about that while I'm gone.
Okay.
Okay. He's,
Dorothy,
I'll tell you. He said the IV for alimentation, for actually nourishing you, has to be in the hospital because there's all kinds of possible complications, and they have to observe you.
I don't want it.
Okay, so we'll have to do it by soup, by mouth. Alimentation by mouth.
I tell him if it has to be in the hospital,
Okay.
thanks, but no thanks.
Okay, for dehydration, you can do it at home. But for alimentation, they have to watch for consequences. Okay.
Tell him to quit thinking, but think
Of sweets.
of foods that go in easy.
Okay,
The protein powder, no good.
okay.
You know one thing unfortunate? I got a lot of good people working for me.
That's unfortunate.
That's fortunate.
Oh, I thought you said it was unfortunate.
Okay. I think I can figure it out, okay?
I'll draw you a diagram in addition.
Okay, then what I hope, what happened to the guest room door squeak?
It got oiled.
It is not the coaxial cable.
I don't believe so.
Have you looked?
Yes, I have.
And the door doesn't strike the coaxial cable anywhere.
No, it does not.
If it does, I have to ask you to get out of the way, because sooner or later it'll break it, okay?
No, it is safe from breakage.
I walked all the way over there, hoping that I could come back and say, you uncluttered those wires, as well as hook them up right. But I can't say that.
That's true, you cannot.
The clutter is worse than mine. How come?
I haven't done it.
You're still intending to do it?
If I feel it's a problem that can be solved, yes.
Okay. Let me tell you that if you don't do it, it's something that annoys me a lot. And I might try to do it. And I shouldn't, okay? What a terrible threat.
That's true.
Forget it. I tell you what, let's try to stay out of there. The fine tape is run all the way back to zero.
I believe so.
Well, check it out. Starts with a little baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not much.
Nope, not very little.
5 minutes. Or less.
5 minutes or less.
Okay. The spaghetti don't matter so much. Because that's an aesthetic defect. Another technical one. Could I, Paul, the picture comes out terrible.
Excuse me, Hannes. I'd like to report to you he's holding on the phone in case you have any more questions. He said, but Dalmain, if you take one right now, you'll probably sleep all afternoon.
I don't want to sleep all afternoon. I want to sleep all afternoon after Paul leaves, not
Okay.
before he leaves.
Okay, so then,
I have no more questions.
okay,
Tell him I look forward to deliver the letter anyway.
okay,
Because tell him I want him to read the letter,
okay. Oh, definitely. I will.
even though he already told me.
Maybe I can cut the capsule in half and you can take half of mine and you'll sleep for a couple hours.
Dorothy,
Uh-huh.
I don't want to take any right
Oh,
now.
okay. As soon as Paul leaves,
If
you'll
I
take
know
it.
for sure that I can sleep 4 hours after Paul leaves, I'd rather stay awake now,
Okay,
even
done.
making an effort.
Okay, good. And with the weight, he said, okay, I'll just take care of
You
it.
do the best you can.
Okay,
Bring me a little more soup.
great. I'll do.
Dorothy,
Uh-huh.
what was I going to say? If I feel good, you can take Paul to the airport.
Okay,
If not, you have to take him to a cab stand
okay.
and give him money.
I think we can call a cab. I don't know where a cab stand is here. I think it's more safe. I don't know. I'll ask
In
him.
that case, I would prefer that you call a cab.
Right,
Give Paul the money.
right,
It's less than $10.
right,
Give him $10, and I would prefer you take a cab
right, definitely.
and you stay home.
Good. Besides, if you're going to take something you never took before, I shouldn't leave
The
you.
moment he leaves, I'm going to try that sleeping pill.
Okay,
And I try sleep.
okay.
Hey, you still talking down here?
Yeah.
Talk to him. Tell him I want him to read the letter
Uh-huh.
because some of it is funny.
Okay,
And please to forgive me to cause him trouble on his
paranoid day.
paranoid day.
Okay.
And thanks for his help.
Well, I'll bring your medicine back. You go.
It's 12 o'clock. What time is your flight?
5:15.
Oh, 5:50. Oh, that's no problem at all. I think you should plan to be there by 4:30, okay?
Right.
I think we should order the cab. Yeah, I better do this. Plane 5:15, right?
That's correct.
Are you in agreement? No, I said airport at 4, right?
4:15.
Okay. You know me, Paul. If you know me, I would also rather you wait at the airport than miss that flight. Because you now need to get back. So I put down airport 4 o'clock, okay?
Javier's is great. He'll be there for dinner. You don't have to ask him twice for Chinese. Don't have to ask him twice for Chinese dinner. The answer is yes. Great. So I wrote that on the outside of the envelope that I'm going to deliver, so Helvetia knows that I've already spoken to him.
Okay. Now I wish I could separate the fun part of the letter.
I told him not to worry about it's not urgent anymore because the problems have been taken care of, but you want him to read the letter.
Well, the reason I wanted to read the letter is it says that I had diagnosed him as paranoid.
I know.
Before I diagnosed myself.
Yeah.
And I think it's Monday and Tuesday.
Right.
And I think he'll laugh, right?
Oh, yeah. If he doesn't laugh, then I've misdiagnosed his whole personality.
Okay.
I wish we'd known about those Dalmains last night. I would have had a good sleep. Well, maybe we wouldn't have anyway.
You know something? I bet you I don't sleep 4 hours.
He said I could leave you alone while you're sleeping with that. There's no possible effects that
Okay.
can happen to
But
you.
what he doesn't know is that I'm fighting all that stuff all
I
the
know.
time.
Well, he's aware of that. He says it's normal in someone who's having these problems to not be able to sleep.
No. But the thing is that I'm just ordinary.
Oh.
I fight the anesthesia
Oh, right.
in the hospital, even though I'm ready to go.
Paul, did you want anything to eat?
No, thank you.
And Paul, did I tell you that, who called? Who else called? Barbara Basil's called?
That was the other day.
Yeah, okay. Because I've been forgetting all these messages. There's too many people calling. Too many tickets.
Paul, on this piece of paper, I wrote my best suggestions about the cab based on my experiences. You are free to follow this rejected ignore it or do whatever you want. Give this to Paul.
Okay.
That's my best knowledge, okay?
Oh, I should have brought a spoon. Here, Paul, here's Daddy's best knowledge, free, to accept or reject it, hold on. Now I can shower. You would prefer that I do my, no, I guess I should do my shopping and stuff later and be here. No.
I would prefer that you would get me fresh juice before you shower.
Right. Dr. Morales said, what did he say? That sitting up thing maybe not is urgent now. This seems to work well on the bed. You know, the chair-like thing.
Hey, the 9 o'clock one is missing.
Okay, I brought it in. I'll bring it back.
How you doing?
This is as tight as I can get it practically without resorting to
force?
To some other method.
That's not so good. That's worse than I thought it would be.
You can decide at this point.
Huh?
I can pull on the I pull on the string as I'm tying the knot and actually overcompensate, and then I'll lose a little when I tie the knot.
Your method didn't work.
No, I couldn't get the screw in. Couldn't stretch the knot I had tied or the screw in.
That's what I thought you couldn't do. Let's have one last brainstorming session.
Your bag is to the camera.
The picture's terrible anyway. There's too much. Dorothy.
Yeah.
Stand there for a minute.
Okay.
And let Paul look at the picture.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
It's awful.
I know.
It's better when you're like this, I think, than from that side. I know it's bad.
Move around.
Da 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 dee dee da 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 da.
Your mother's going to take you the other way.
Okay. I'm posing with my finished piece.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you. This is all on tape. It's my pleasure, and I hope you enjoy it every time you look at it.
Well, I thank you for your gift. I thank you for putting it up. I thank you for all your help. And I just thank you for coming. I thank you for being my son. I'm sorry I can't be on the camera because I don't have your clothes on.
Daddy, I want to say one thing. That is, I love you very much. And I think you make Escalera look like a man who hardly tries enough. Nothing really more than I can say in reference to your determination. That should be inspiring to anybody who's around you, and is to me. I love you very much, and I hope you have the opportunity to see this tape often. And I love you. Bye.